Missing. There we go. Well, morning, Dave. Doing well. Sorry for missing last week. I'm glad to be back. I'm good. I'm on a Penn State podcast tonight. I'll have more than enough to say there. Tune into that if you want to have some listening pleasure to that. So, see, straight from the Crest podcast. A friend of mine puts it on from home. He's done it for 5 years. We've built a good little network. So we're getting there.
Penn State, 3-2.
Yeah, not all of us can be the U, but things could be worse. Things could be worse.
Are you hinting at a certain team in particular, or
maybe I won't say it? We'll bring him in, and then he can drop.
It's a great segue to our guest today, Flash Founder CEO Jason Deese. Jason, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing?
Did you have something you wanted to say to Jason, Mr. Bastardi?
No, I'm not gonna. UNC basketball season's about a month away, so.
That's where you're wrong. It's already started in our minds. So the scrimmages have started. We are underway. Football has been put behind us. So yeah, this is definitely basketball season.
Yeah, the Bill Belichick experiment has officially failed.
That's yes. We have moved on. That was a quick judgment, but yes, we have definitely moved on. So no problem.
And we are moving on to the fall, to fall foliage, to apple picking, to pumpkin patches, to really the best weather months of the year, October and November, the calm before the nor'easters. And there could be a nor'easter this weekend, a fall type of nor'easter. We talked about that a little bit on our TikTok and on YouTube yesterday about maybe a hybrid tropical storm this weekend. The next name on the list to the internet's desire is Karen. Hopefully they don't name this storm because the internet will have a field day this weekend. Yes. A lot going on at Flash right now. Jason, do you want to talk about some of the exciting new things, the Hail History product that came out, and some of the new, even more exciting things to come?
Sure. Yeah. I appreciate the opportunity, Dave, to talk about those things. Just one thing after another from the innovation side here at Flash. Tech team's done a phenomenal job. Our data science team, AI team. You talked about the Hail look back. One of the main issues with looking at past hail data was that the hail data that came in was based on radar, and that radar was often in error where it placed where the largest hail was. And so what our guys were able to do was utilizing algorithms and AI data is adjust where the largest hail fell on the fly. And so for roofing contractors, for instance, who are going out there and trying to find where the largest hail fell legitimately, on someone's house, so that they could help them get that roof repaired. Oftentimes in the past, they were going to the wrong roof, climbing up on the wrong roof. There's nothing here. It said it was going to be here. What happened? That doesn't happen anymore with Flash. So we're really excited about that Hail Look Back tool. It generates a nice PDF with official verbiage from Flash saying, hey, this is more official than anything you're ever going to get, because we're using science technology as we do with all of our products to make sure that this is the most accurate thing out there. So that Hail product's out. We're really close to our hail forecast tool. And so I just saw some examples of that coming through. It's actually in our ecosystem now producing forecasts. We're just looking at it to make sure that it's producing the results we think it will. And so far, results are looking really good. A 60-minute forecast of the size and location of hail down to the street corner. And so that provides, not only for construction and roofing industry, in particular, we changed the narrative when that comes out and saying, hey, you can send out to all of your customers out ahead of time, hey, hail's coming this size. if you get any roof damage, please contact us. So we're actually being proactive rather than reactive to the situation, and also treating it as a service. So you can send out ahead of time, hey, hail's coming, pull your truck into the garage so it doesn't get damaged, and take that to the insurance. We're going to be talking to insurance agencies as well and getting that worked into what they're doing as well. So you imagine from an insurance standpoint, high dog, these Chevy Silverados now cost $75,000, and you're sitting out there in your driveway. You get a nice message from Flash on the app that says, hey, pull your truck in the garage, hail's coming. That's going to have a tremendous impact on the damage that's occurred with some of these large hailstorms. So we're excited about that. So from the app standpoint, we'll get Garrett. I'm sure he's talked about this in the last couple of weeks. The app just continues to expand rapidly. Our dev team, Jamie Canada, as we affectionately call him because he's from Canada, but he is doing a great job along with Garrett in producing. I always say we have basically 3 rules for product development with the app, with the Weather Command Center, with anything that we do. It has to be proprietary data, the data source that no one's ever seen. It has to be a proprietary technology forecast that no one's ever seen. And it has to be understandable by my mom. And so if you can satisfy those 3 criteria, which is really hard to do in some cases, then we'll incorporate it. And that's what the app is. It's just basically taking the most technological data that you can imagine from an AI standpoint, processing it every 2 minutes, and then delivering it in an output that's easy to understand. I think the most exciting one coming out now that's in the app is the 10-day radar. Pretty sure that's not in any other app or weather ecosystem out there. That's first of its kind. And so, we talk about it all the time from a meteorological standpoint. You get out to 7 to 10 days, you're not going to be looking at specifics. You're not going to say, hey, is it going to rain at my wedding on Saturday, 10 days from now?
Yeah.
But what you can see is trends. You can definitely see trends, and you can say that, hey, it's going to be wet in the Northeast and it's going to be dry in the Southwest. And so if you have a wedding 10 days from now, you can say, okay, it's not looking good. Let's go ahead and take preparations just in case when the forecast does get here and it does show rain, that we're ready. So excited about that product. The Lightning product, I guess we can tease in the next 2 weeks too. A whole new user interface coming in the app that will gradually go into the Weather Command Center. And so I don't know, Garrett, what do you think? We've probably been utilizing maybe 60% of the capabilities of what we have from Lightning data standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 50-60% maybe.
Yeah, so we got this data. We just haven't been sure how to present it in a way that everyone can understand. And so that'll be coming out really soon as well with the app. We'll be using interface insights for the Lightning. So from Lightning, hail, to app enhanced 10-day radar. I can talk a little bit about, and stop me anytime, Dave. I can go on forever talking about the technological enhancements we got coming. But we had started on our tornado journey previously. We kind of paused it because we thought lightning was more important, and then the hail came along because of hail season. But now we're really getting back into the tornado aspect. Happy to announce that we've expanded the Flash family to bring in some new personnel on the data science side, specifically looking at tornado. And so, doing the insights that we did with lightning, we're going to take that straight to tornadoes. So we're going to look at a database of 30 years of tornadoes and say, okay, these ingredients led to a tornado in the past. We're seeing these ingredients come in now. They match that in the past, and that's going to produce this level of tornado. And so, again, I come from the National Weather Service. I'm not looking to replace anything, from the Weather Service, but I also know the challenges that came with working with the National Weather Service. We had 96 counties to warn for in the Atlanta area. 2 forecasters typically looking at radar, it's not enough. And so if we can use AI to basically look at storms and be a triage and say, these are the storms that you need to be looking at. These are the most dangerous ones. These are the ones most likely to produce a tornado. You can send that information straight to the public and say, hey, there's a 75% chance of a tornado at this spot in the next hour. And then you can make the decisions from there. So just some really exciting stuff. And we'll be ticking those off one after another. Winds will likely be next. Visibility will be in there. That's one of those silent killers, in terms of people don't think about visibility, but, you can get one of those massive traffic accidents due to low visibility in a heartbeat. If we can predict that, send that to the Department of Transportation ahead of time, have that up on a sign, slow down, low visibility coming ahead. We're all in this to save lives, and we're really starting to accelerate towards producing these products that will do exactly that.
Garrett, it's all real exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. No, and I think it's, we're always working. Like, I think, Jason makes a lot of great points. And I think the last point of when he talked about, when we go through, we'll sit in meetings and talk about, how do we want the app to look? How do we want this to look, that to look, whatever. And we talk about, Jason mentioned, can our mother, digest this information? Can our grandmothers use this information? And so, if you take a look, even just you put the data aside, just the platform as a whole, and the unbelievable strides and improvements that have been made in 6 months, from the Weather Command Center to the app itself, what's it going to look like in 6 more months? When you're taking proprietary data, first of its kind data, everything from an algorithm that you created yourself and it's being put on a map form for the first time, to taking the flashes, lightning, first strike, probability, all clear, all that proprietary AI data, and putting it into a visual for the first time for a consumer. There's going to be evolution to it. There's going to be constant improvement, because it is the first time some of these things have been done. So, when it comes to our app, which has been a lot of my focus in the last, along with Jason, along with our dev team for the last 3 to 4 months, a lot of what we're looking at is stuff that's for the consumer, but being put out there for the first time. And so you're getting a consumer app that is very it's very diverse, it's very dynamic, where and Jason can attest to this. We've had this conversation where, we have this unbelievable data. We need to meet the lowest common denominator as well. So we have the most dynamic app, from just having your regular 7 to 10 day forecast data in there, all the way to having proprietary AI driven lightning forecasts as well, 10-day radar, unbelievable graphics. So the evolution of what we've been doing is really cool. It's just something that, you look at other, some other apps out there and they just kind of stay the same. We're never really going to stay the same. I don't think. I think, kind of our identity will stay the same, but we're always going to be continuing to try to push perfect. We'll never reach there, but that's part of the drive. We'll continue to push it as far as we can.
And that's the most pivotal part, I think, is that weather forecasting as a whole, numerical weather prediction, hasn't changed. I mean, Jason, you can attest to this, being in the NWS. Numerical weather prediction hasn't changed at all since the early 90s, almost since like Hurricane Andrew. Like, it's all been the same type of forecast. I mean, you got new models. The RAP came out, then the HRR, the HRRR came out. So we're increasing resolution and convection allowing, thunderstorm allowing models, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're more accurate.
Correct. And I mean, the phrase we always have been throwing out, but it's still true today, and it hasn't changed, is, 30 years ago, it took 6 hours to get a new hurricane forecast. Today, it takes 6 hours to get a new hurricane forecast.
Yeah.
And so nothing's changed in that amount of time, which is a shame, because the technology has. And so, we have the capabilities through machine learning, AI, different algorithms to produce not only like you said, downscaling or a more site-specific forecast, but also a more rapid forecast. And so, I remember another weather company contacting us 2 summers ago. They missed a big thunderstorm event at Dallas Fort Worth Airport, and they said, "Can you send us the data of how you did?" And I was like, "Sure." And so we sent it, and they were like, "How did you do that? You nailed it." So I was like, "Well, it's not a fair fight. We're updating our forecast every 2 minutes. You're updating yours every 1 hour to 6 hours." I was like, "So the life cycle of a typical thunderstorm is 45 minutes. You're going to miss it. We're not." And so I think that's the true difference in what we're doing. And so as we expand this, I guess I did fail to mention that hurricane is definitely on our radar as well, pun intended, to, after tornado and some of the other ones, so that we can, it may not be a 2-minute update, but certainly we can get to an hour every hour updating a hurricane model to see exactly where the hurricane's going to go, so that we can look at those last minute changes, which are so crucial as it approaches landfall. So really excited about the potential with those. And then I would just add, with conversation before, from a 30,000 foot view of apps out there, weather apps, and the need that we're trying to fill, it's really, you've got people like us who are super nerdy, super geeky, meteorological, who are going after these top meteorological weather websites and apps to get our information that no one would, no one who's not in the meteorological community would ever understand some of the insights or even where to go to get the information. So that's on one end of the spectrum. And then on the other end, you've got your other apps, the free apps that basically don't give you any information that you need to get through your day, and they're often wrong. And so in between that's the void that we're trying. It's a huge void. I mean, think about that, between that low end and that high end. That's a huge void. That's where we're trying to get in, and try to take some of that really complex data and bring it down so that everybody can understand it. Everybody can gain insights. Everybody can just make their day better, whether it's from a business standpoint, a pleasure standpoint, what have you. But you can gain those insights very easily.
Yeah, and I think the hardest part about this from a public communication standpoint is going to be, we've already introduced things that have never been done before, lightning prediction. And now we're going to be introducing more things that arguably to the public are crazier than lightning prediction. You're going to tell the public that we can predict tornadoes within 15, 30, 45, 60, whatever the, output time ends up being. That could be hard for the public to believe it's at a point, at least on face value, but then they're going to see the verification of it next spring, and they're going to say, "Oh, these flash guys can do something that A, nobody else can do, and B, has never been done before." Hail. Go ahead, Jason.
That's a great point, Dave. And I think to go along with that, obviously, that's why we decided early on to have an entry point for the app when it didn't have as much proprietary. It had the lightning. The entry point was, hey, try out the app. And even as we go to a paid model, which we have to support all of these proprietary tools that we're developing, we're going to keep that price point extremely low. And the reason is we don't want that to be a hurdle for anybody to get in and try it. Come in, try it, see it for yourself. We don't want you to listen to us and take it at face value that, hey, this is, going to be better than anything you've ever seen before. Come in there and try it. You'll see very quickly that we're not just another weather app. We're something different, and the data that we have that supports that is something that they've never seen before. So,
yeah, to your point, Dave, you're just about the general public seeing something and maybe not. Can they do that? Can they not believe it? I mean, that was, and I've, in-house, you've heard me tell this story before, but that was my initial reaction before I had any sort of affiliation with Flash was there's no way, right? Like predicting lightning, like they can detect lightning. I know they can do that. And, you become just so convinced as to what you see if you just use it. And so there's no doubt we're going to be able to do, hurricane to tornado to, already seeing the hail output to severe wind, to flash flooding. all of those things, will be done because, lightning is arguably the hardest one of them. And that's already been accomplished. And so, objectively seeing that, seeing the process of it, it's something that it's repeatable once you get the hardest one done. So that's what is amazing about the tools that we have that are AI driven, and like Jason mentioned, the ability to update every 2 minutes and do that in a way that is efficient from a data standpoint. That's there's a reason why these models run every 6 hours, and there's a reason why they run every 3 hours, because there's so much data. And so our team, way before I came around, the team, with Will and with Jason and some of the other guys who are on the team as well, been able to say, well, how can we get all of this data and just run it every 2 minutes in an efficient manner behind the under the hood? It's all a testament to just the work of those very smart people in development.
Yeah.
And then the ability, what's been a fun experience the last, was it been 1 or 2 months, Jason, of, seeing what other talent is out there to help us with these specific builds. It's my IQ level needs to move up to reach some of these, you got Ivy League folks and PhDs and people defending their PhDs and their theses and coming to help us. It's only going to get better. And so that's what's exciting about, seeing, from an outsider's perspective initially, wow, this really does work, to then seeing, well, this is what works. Let's continue to take it to other tools. So that's been something that's been a lot of fun to be a part of, but then also knowing the mission of, we really are going to help people, which is, from a safety perspective, obviously business, but in the end, saving lives is what is most important.
What's really cool, I'll just add to that here, what's really been cool in us hiring some of these people, these, like you said, these really smart, Ivy League, you look at their resumes, and I mean, they, the internships they've had are with Microsoft and Amazon. And I mean, they're just working, they could go with any company they wanted to. And so, let's be honest with ourselves. We're taking off rapidly, but we're coming out of that startup phase, so, we're nowhere near what Microsoft or any of those other companies are. And so, when they first look at us, they're like, why would I go to you guys? And then when they find out, that, hey, we're taking theoretical AI, what you're working on, and we're producing operational products that are going to save lives. So if you produce something in 6 weeks for us, we're going to put it into production and start saving a life. And that's going to be because of you. And it's really cool to see the response to that, and how many people are like, yeah, that's who I want to work for. I mean, it helps that we're remote. They can work wherever they want to. That's always good too. But you can see it in their eye that, they have a passion for doing something that's meaningful. And so that's really meant a lot to me. So, and what that is. And then just going back, I want to take the audience here through a possible user journey, because a lot of these products we talk about, I mean, you hear tornado and it sounds abstract and things like that, but I want them to know the difference in what we're shooting for and what they get now. And again, National Weather Service meteorologists, I mean, they're heroes for what they have to do, in my mind, for the amount of data they have to absorb, and based on the resources that they have in producing really good tornado forecasts. But at the end of the day, all they have time to do is issue a tornado warning, right? And so if you're the end user, right, and you're sitting in, let's say somewhere near I am, Bristol, Virginia. Okay, you're sitting in Bristol, Virginia, and you get a tornado warning from the National Weather Service. Okay, and then you go to your spouse and you say, okay, a tornado warning was just issued for us. Okay, well, what do you mean for us? Where is it right now? I don't know where it is right now. And then they go and look and they say, okay, looks like it was 20 miles southwest of us. Well, which way is it moving? I don't know which way it's moving, and this was 10 minutes ago, so I don't know where it is now, and so you've got all this unknown information. All you know is a tornado warning was issued. Fast forward to what we want to do. We want there to be instantaneous information for you based on your location and relative to that tornado. So, okay, tornado is 10 miles and it's moving your way. You have a 68% chance of seeing a tornado, but you're going to get an update 1 minute later. And then it's going to say, okay, your probabilities are increasing for a tornado, but you still have this much time. Okay. And so you're getting insight after insight after insight of what you should do, and not guessing, hey, is this going to affect me or is this not? And it could go the other way. It could be, hey, you have a 76% chance of seeing this tornado in 20 minutes. And then tornado starts to dissipate. And then it says, okay, your probabilities have gone down to 0. That's still incredibly valuable information that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And so that's the goal. That's what we're shooting for. That's the paradigm shift that we want. And I think we'll attain it.
The steps that the app has taken over the past, short term, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, to go from basically a one screen app that had color coded dots of when the lightning was coming to now a completely full service weather forecasting app in a short amount of time that can be used by everybody for a multitude of different utilities, if you will.
Yeah, and Garrett can speak to that too with his significant other, but my wife, that was the goal there. Is every time we had a new app iteration, I take it to my wife, and I was like, she would look at it and she would like, the proprietary data that you have is wonderful. I love the lightning. I'll always come to it for the lightning, but you need to improve this if you're going to have me switch from Apple. And so we'd go back to the drawing board and we'd say, okay, let's do this. And then we'd enhance this. But like you said, Dave, for that to be a 4 to 5 month process, a very short time window, just speaks to what type of company we are and who we're, type of talent that we have on the dev side, development side, to be able to now, it rivals what you would see with Apple or any other app based on look and feel and all weather. And then add on top of that, the proprietary lightning data and the hail data that we're going to bring in, and the 10-day radar. And then you've got something really special.
Mm-hmm. As Madison says in the chat, if Mama can use it, literally anyone can.
That's right.
Yeah. And there's some things that we're brainstorming and looking to apply, really just in the like we said, in the 7-day forecast, kind of the basic portion of the app that we know nobody else has done before. And the goal is to meet the user, right? Meet the user where they're at. If you think of us as forecasters, and when people come to us from a asking questions standpoint, when it comes to the weather, nobody's really asking if it's 75 and sunny and it's a perfect day. They want to know. They start hearing through the news or on TV or on the internet, there's a storm coming, right? Well, we want our app to be able to come to the user first and tell them when something is coming before they even know it's going to be there, right? And so there's some cool things dealing with color coding and alerting, that even for a basic 7-day forecast, that'll say, hey, maybe I shouldn't be doing this outdoor activity on Saturday, I should do it on Sunday, right? Or maybe I should do it on Monday instead of Sunday. And just sneak peeking a little bit of that, we're not just setting and forgetting the 7-day forecast because we've built it really good to this point. There's some things that have never been done before that we're going to continue to add on to there. And we have a lot of creative minds, at this company that are helping push that along. And, back to the folks that we're bringing in to help the operation. I think one of the cool things, they have this background of internships, all these different places, but what do they say? One, they love the weather. 2, they want their work to be able to go and be applied, versus something being, we'll work on it, but we won't actually it won't see the light of day. Mm-hmm. The stuff we do sees the light of day pretty quickly, which is pretty cool. I mean, there's some stuff that, Jamie Canada, that we affectionately refer to him as, he just designed something, and it's like, what, let's put it in this iteration of the app and see what the reaction is. So it's a project. It's a living, breathing entity. And you don't see that as much nowadays with anything. If you do an overhaul of the ESPN app, it's going to stay like that for 2 years until they do something different. We're going to constantly evolve to push, like I said, to push perfect as far as we can with this stuff.
Yeah, that's good, Garrett. And I'll give a little bit of my what we're going for, beyond tornado and just the forecast. And what you talked about is, I'll talking to my wife, I'll say, hey, let's go up to the park on Saturday, take the kids to the park, and she said, oh, it's Apple says it's going to rain, and so I'm like, I know that it's going to rain for 30 minutes,
Yes.
that morning and clear out
Yes.
but if you're looking at that app, it's just like, hey, it's rain. And so we're trying to figure out innovative ways to let everybody know what type of day it's going to be. So whether that be composite indices, which we're leaning on a lot, it may be your weekend day planner, but each hour will give you a number from 0 to 100, 0 being the worst conditions, 100 being the best conditions, so that you can plan out your day and you can say, hey, after 12 o'clock, it's going to be fine. And so that would be great to go out there. And so I'll give my my Six Flags anecdote when I worked for the National Weather Service. But I used to go take the kids to Six Flags on days where we had high rain chances, and that were just maybe a cold front coming through, but the rain chances would be concentrated to just 1 hour of the day, because I knew that everybody's going to be looking at the forecast and see high rain chance and assume it was all day. And so I remember working the forecast desk one night, and there was a front coming through. The rain was going to last 30 minutes. Okay. 30 minutes was all this was going to last, but it was going to rain. And so I increased the rain chances because it was going to rain from, 80 to 100%. And sure enough, it rained. Everybody took it as it was going to rain all day because their apps were no good. We went to Six Flags and had the park to ourselves. And so that's
So you're the weatherman from Curb Your Enthusiasm. If you remember that story.
Yes.
Yeah.
So every time you say it's going to rain, nobody goes to the golf course except you.
That's exactly right. That happened after I started doing that too. But it is true though, in terms of, even when you're forecasting accurately, the apps are taking that and making it into something that it's not. And that's what we're trying to not do, and trying to come up with more innovative ways to tell you actually how your day is going to be.
Can't wait till we get our snow day parameter here for the winter. We're gonna have some fun winter stuff, aren't we?
We are, yeah. So our weather command center already has a lot of really good insights in terms of probabilistic type. What's your chance of getting 1 inch of snow, 2 inches of snow, 6 inches of snow, 12 inches of snow? And then it has the winter index, that kind of tells you low, moderate, high, extreme, what type of winter event this is going to be based on your geographic region. So we all know that 2 inches of snow in Chicago is different than 2 inches of snow in Atlanta. And so that takes that into account. And, what type of this is this going to be? So you might have a 6-inch snow in Chicago that's listed as moderate. That same snow would be listed as extreme in Atlanta, and rightly so. And so very valuable tool for superintendents of schools to just look at one thing and say, should I close schools or should I not? Because they don't want those decisions. They don't want we don't want them being meteorologists, and they don't want to be a meteorologist. So we help them make that decision. So that's going to be a very valuable tool. And then expanding from that, these composite indices, taking into account blowing snow, taking into account the road temperatures, things like that. What makes an event a nuisance into what makes an event dangerous? And so we're going to be able to look at all of those products and take those into account. And that doesn't even count the AI development that we'll do, which will include winter type, like when does it transition from rain to snow? When do the highest impacts affect you? All of that's possible with the AI engine that we have in producing additional proprietary products from a winter standpoint.
And we'll be live streaming it all. That's the fun.
Yeah.
It's one of the best parts.
Yeah,
Ever since I've
really,
come on full time, it's been pretty, not pretty, it's been very quiet. Maybe we should put me back to part time, and then things will get a little bit more active. But correlation is not causation, obviously. So,
right, and the weather tends to have a way of evening itself out, whether that's fortunate or unfortunate, how you look at it. So, but I expect as we get closer to November, we'll start getting some more significant systems pop up, and that's the other exciting aspect of Flash. That I think from a opening the curtain in the business standpoint, I've been told countless times. I can't tell you how many times I've been told by investors, by mentors, confidants, people that I really respect. Jason, you can't do it all. Flash can't do it all. Flash has to pick something and there. And I've just always pushed back. And so whether it's to our detriment or not, I think the detriment part is it took us longer to build this than we thought. But now that we're here, I truly believe that we can do it all. We can serve the consumer, from the app standpoint. We can serve the Joe's Blueberry Farm out in Nebraska from a small business standpoint to a large business and enterprise standpoint with our APIs. We can serve them all. And then from a safety standpoint, that's where I wanted to talk about you, Dave, and bringing that aspect in. We want what you're doing to be the platform of the nation for streaming live events. And so we've got some wonderful individuals, Ryan Hall, Garrett, some others down in, I believe, Arkansas, and others who are doing, more
James
regional,
Bryan and Zach Hall. Yeah.
Regional type, fantastic streaming of live weather events. Now that we have our platform that's national, we want Dave to be that national presence, for this. And again, being a safety first type and bringing you the insights of Flash right into your phone, into your living room, on your desktop. If there's a big event, you go see Dave, and Dave's going to present the insights that Flash is, in addition to getting the stuff on your phone. So that component, we're really excited about, Dave, and what you're going to be able to bring as the weather gets more active. Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to leave broadcast meteorology so soon, 4 years after graduation, but with the way that, linear television has trended the past decade or so, and with how incredible our products are and what we can provide in terms of safety, not just in one market, but around the country, it was a no-brainer to help take Flash's public notoriety, if you will, to the next level and show the world all the good stuff that we're going to do and all the safety we're going to provide.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess the nationwide aspect's represented by our personnel and our employees too. I mean, we have, so now we
count
have,
how many states we have.
Yeah, we have Oregon, we have Wyoming, Utah's coming on board, and then Virginia, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina. I mean,
that's
Maryland,
7.
Canada, the 51st state.
Yeah.
So 8 or 9, maybe. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Iowa. Yeah.
We got Iowa. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got all over the map. So there may
sounds
be
like a headache. Sounds like a headache for payroll, but that's not.
Yes, our human resources guy, Jamie, the other Jamie, would definitely agree with that for sure. But yeah, maybe we'll get some live streaming, live reports, during events from some of our guys in the field there. So very interesting for you.
Well, when you live in Texas and you chase in the spring, although I'm gonna lure Dave out into the field to do that, but we'll be in North Texas or Southern Oklahoma on a tornado event and be like, all right.
I'm not chasing in Southeast Texas, but I will chase.
No, gosh, no.
In the Panhandle.
Don't do that.
I want to chase in Amarillo, like Lubbock.
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
that God created that country specifically to look at tornadoes. That's what I think of. So
I
Yeah.
think you guys had your 1 in 1,000 year winter storm already, right, Garrett? Or
I know, I
that
know.
was last year. So
Yeah, and typical to, growing up in central Pennsylvania, my formative years, 2009, 2010, we think of like Snowmageddon, in DC and right along the Mason-Dixon line. Uh, all the heaviest snow dodged me just to the south. And I was born after the superstorm of 1993, so I never got to experience a true massive blizzard in central PA. And I moved to Texas, and somehow still the heaviest snow misses me off to the south and east. And so I don't know how it's possible, but I'll take 4 inches in the woodlands, but New Orleans getting a foot in blizzard conditions, I'm just like, maybe I just got to stick to summer weather. Not break my heart with the winter weather anymore.
Yeah, I always And how much time do we have, Dave? I don't want to make. I don't want.
You tell me.
Oh, good.
Me.
I love telling stories. So
let's talk about some of the trade shows we've got coming up. We're going to Charlotte next week.
Yes.
I'll be there. Then we got Chicago, I think, the week after, and then it's going to get real busy around the new year. But let's keep it in October and talk about Charlotte and Chicago. You'll be speaking in the Queen City. A lot of cities call themselves the Queen City. Charlotte's one of them. Cincinnati is another one. But what are you looking forward to the most in Charlotte next week?
Yeah, so for people who didn't know, I'm originally from Charlotte, and so no offense to Cincinnati, but I consider us the original Queen City. But
Joe
really
Burrow
excited.
would like a word? No.
Yeah, no, Joe. Really excited about going back home and showing the building community specifically, what we're all about. And so that's going to be, we did the Atlanta Build Expo, really had a lot of good feedback, a lot of good traction, a lot of wonderful people coming by and saying, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this existed. I didn't know we could get insights like this. And, fast forward, that was several months ago. And so now fast forward to, we've been talking about how rapid development is. Now we've got the Hail Look Back tool. We've got the 10-day radar. We've got all these other tools that we think are going to be extremely beneficial to the building community, roofers, contractors, all of those. And then to think about, how these are structured, some of these companies, some of these construction companies are statewide, some of them are regional, some of them are nationwide. And for us to be able to serve that entire community where they can add, hundreds of sites at once and monitor those sites at once are things that have never been done before. So really excited to take the team down. We'll have a booth there at the Charlotte Expo. Really excited to meet some of the building contractors, some of the larger companies that come through, and we know that it's going to be another successful show for us before on to Chicago.
Are you going to be in Chicago?
I will not be in Chicago, no. Okay. So I think the only way I would have been in Chicago is if the Cubs were still playing, and it does not look like that's going to occur. So
no.
Yeah, so we'll have we'll have others who are going to take the helm there and do a really great job for us.
Garrett, when's your next one?
Probably either be GCSAA or PGA show, so not till February.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we got a couple
GCSAA
of we have
show
three,
is usually
I think we have 3 within a week in January. We have
Yeah.
PGA, and then there's Concrete in Vegas, and I think there's another one in Vegas too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we're actually we may be adding a show in December. Still looking at it, but we're working with the company, Sports Facilities, where that's all they do is they design and build sports facilities. So from major arenas across the country to all the way down to like a splash park or water park or something like that. They design all of those, and they have hundreds of those nationwide. And so, we're going to, regardless of the show aspect, we're looking at working with them and some type of deal to, protect those entities and those outdoor facilities that they have. We've already, done deals on the agronomy side with Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars, but also now extending that into the safety side of outdoor facilities and what we can do there. So that could be an exciting show for us too. So all of these things. Now that's where we do have to be careful in terms of, where we are right now and picking and choosing. I mean, if we had unlimited resources, what can we have the greatest impact on? Anything outdoors. So it's a large, wide swath, but again, goes back to safety. Where can we maximize? Where can we put the focus that the most people will be impacted in a positive way by our products? And so that's what we look at from the trade show standpoint. All of these outdoor workers, all of these guys on cranes and scaffolding, and they see dark skies, they have bad apps, they don't know when stuff's coming. And so they're perhaps most vulnerable right there with youth sports. And so those are the aspects that we look at getting our product out so that it can help the most people quickly.
Is that company based in Kansas City, or am I thinking of a different one?
I don't think they're based in Kansas City. That's probably a different one. There's a lot of sports facility companies out there. This is one of the larger ones. Looking forward to working with them.
Good. Garrett, anything else? What do we think? 10:46. Well, it's 9:46 in Central Time. Central Time is the best time zone after living in Des Moines for a couple of years. But we'll save that for a separate stream.
Yeah. No, I think great content today. Good doing more of this stuff. I think, there's a lot of great people in this company. Obviously, Jason at the tip of the spear, and so the more we can bring those folks in here and kind of divvy it up. There's only so many ways that we can talk about a storm going out to sea in these in these live streams. So we might as well get some things that are a little bit more substantive during those time frames. And so just excited to keep seeing what we're gonna be able to build and get it out and get the response from the public, and keep moving forward from there.
Imagine if this was in January.
Yeah. Well, that will actually, now that I don't live there, it will happen in January. But
so we're due for a 2013-2014 style winter. We'll see.
We'll see.
This is my first year in Western Virginia, so we'll see. I came here for more winter weather. I hope it comes, so we'll see.
Yeah, cool.
The mountains, yeah.
Awesome.
I-77 is going to be an experience in the winter.
Yes, we'll see.
Cool.
All righty.
Awesome.
Jason, thanks for joining us today. We'll do it again soon. Garrett, we'll do it again next. Well, no, we won't do it again. I'll be in Charlotte next Wednesday with Jason, and we'll have some good content coming out of Charlotte next week. Jason's presentation, some behind-the-scenes booth content, and we'll put this mic on Jason, whether he likes it or not, and we'll make some good content. Come on, you're excited. Come on.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait.
All right. That's right. And by the time we have our next Wednesday stream, maybe we have an October storm. We shall see.
We'll see.
Exciting times ahead for Flash, as Jason eloquently put, and it's going to be a fun ride.
Appreciate it.
Thank you both.
Dave.
We'll do it again. Yes, sir.